Hello gorgeous peeps, welcome to another thrilling episode of Tech Spurt Weekly, the weekly tech news show that's almost 100 episodes deep and yet still hasn't managed to come up with a single half-decent intro. And even more remarkably, people actually still watch it, you absolute f***ing mentalists. So anyway, it turns out this week's been a pretty good one if you're A, after a new mobile, and B, skint as f***. Seriously, so many new budget blowers and only one Uncle Spurt. Them's not good maths, kiddies. Let's just say that the Tech Spurt Towers whiskey cabinet has received a right royal Rogerin this week, and now it feels like a grizzly bear has basically punched me right in the liver. Anyway, well, I still have the power of speech somehow. Let's have a full run through of the week's biggest tech shenanigans, and the good news is that next week is going to be even more of a so someone please send whiskey. Tech Spurt Weekly. So first up on the budget blower conveyor belt was the Realme 9 Pro, and this here fancier model, the Realme 9 Pro Plus, for any Boise types who are still skint but want to show off down the pub. That upgraded Pro Plus model boasts a proper decent 50 megapixel camera using Sony's IMX766 sensor, same as the Nord 2, so you can shoot surprisingly natural looking pics indoors and out. Oh, and just a heads up, steer clear of this stuff here, it tastes like an Oompa Loompa basically took a steam and dump in a blender. You've also got a MediaTek Dimensity 920 chipset which can cope with most gaming demands, plus a 90Hz AMOLED display and a 4500 mAh battery with fancy pants 60W super dart charge support. As for the regular Realme 9 Pro, well, that slashes the AMOLED screen, replacing it with a 120Hz IPS panel. The 64meg camera sensor is a bit more basic. You've got a Snapdragon 695 running the show, which to be fair should again offer smooth running. And while the super dart charge support is gone, you do get a bigger 5000 mAh battery. Now, I haven't had a chance to give the standard Realme 9 Pro a poke yet, but I have got a full unboxing live right now of the Realme 9 Pro Plus, and my full review should be coming soon as I can be bothered to actually edit that bastard. No rest for the wicked, because just 24 hours later, OnePlus whipped out its own budget blower and gave it a good flapping about, and I've got to say I liked what I saw. Sure, the Nord CE 2 5G may not pack the kind of stunning looks that'll have you drooling into your pint, but you can always preen your eyebrows in that very shiny mirrored arse. The 6.4-inch AMOLED screen is a proper stunner. You got a 4500 mAh battery again, boasting super VOOC fast charging support. And the Dimensity 900 chipset means you can get your kicks pounding a goblin. That's not some dodgy double entendre, by the way, I mean actually pounding a goblin. Sadly, you do get the same camera tech as the original Nord CE, which did struggle in the more testing conditions, but all around it's a pretty decent package and a solid rival to the likes of the Redmi Note 11 Pro and that Realme 9 Pro Plus, and full unboxing live right now, hopefully review soon. Next up, HMD Global decided that this would be the perfect week to surprise us all with two more cheap f***ing phones, the supremely wallet-friendly Nokia G11 and G21. The G11 is the cheapest of the pair, costing £119 when it hits the UK in March. The 6.5-inch IPS panel is a basic 720p effort, but it does hit 90Hz refresh, while the plastic back packs a 13 megapixel camera plus macro and depth sensors. The big whoop here though is the mighty 5000 mAh battery, which paired with stock Android should keep you going a wee while. You got two OS upgrades promised as usual, although it is sadly Android 11 out of the box, not the fresh new Android 12. You've got a headphone jack, you've got microSD memory card support, you've got NFC in select markets. Overall, sounds alright for that price tag. And also, come on model guy, just put some effort in. He's literally just fallen asleep next to the phone. I mean, at least pick it up and pretend like you're showing a dick pic to someone just out of shot. There you go, that's better. Now, if you can't wait till March, the new Nokia G21 is available right now for a bit more scratch at 150 quid in all. This upgrades the main camera to a snazzy 50 megapixel effort and adds in a bit more memory while tweaking some of the other specs. Although you are still lumbered with a 720p panel, where many rivals do offer a full HD screen at this sort of price point. And apparently the Nokia peeps also love trees, perhaps not quite as much as this person right here, but enough to plant 10 fresh ones for every phone sold. And oh Christ, look, it's Mr. Snoozy back again. Does he actually get paid just to have a kip next to phones? Like, how do you even get that gig? Definitely sign me right the f*** up. Anyways, with any luck, I'll hopefully have a bit of hands-on action with those new Nokias for you real soon. So definitely make sure you poke that subscribe button real hard. Don't want to miss those bad boys, otherwise, you know, your life would be completely and utterly devoid of meaning. And as if that wasn't already enough budget phone fun and games to last a lifetime, let alone a handful of days, I also this week in the post received a massive box with Motorola branding on the top, so I was essentially ready to pop a couple of cyanide pills and call it a day. But thankfully Moto turned out to be my heroes because they just sent me a load of donuts, so that was some absolutely sweet relief. Cheers Moto, you lovely buggers. So as much as I bitch and moan about all this tech that I have to cover, at least I do get sent free ket every now and then, so it's all good. However, another surprise launch this week came courtesy of Sony, who wants to fill 2 of your less unappealing bodily orifices with its fresh new LinkBuds. These are open-ear true wireless earbuds, so even while you're blasting music, you're still completely aware of everything going on all around you, which might not be much of a benefit, to be fair, if you actually want to drown out the other human beings that cohabit your living space. So what's the crack there then, you may well be asking, if you haven't already buggered off to watch a PewDiePie video or something. Well, the good news is I've got you a full review of the Sony LinkBuds live right here, right now on Tech Spurt. And anyway, there may well have been more tech news from the week, but frankly, that's as much as my shiny head can really cope with right now, which means, unfortunately, it is time for the part of the show that generally involves more F-bombs and puking than the average episode of Geordie Shore. It's viewer comments! Viewer comments! Right, we're kicking off this week with Orkich, who says, probably not retro enough, but I'd love to see a Galaxy S9 reboot. Also continue on the reboot theme from last week. Perfect design, symmetrical bezels, perfect size for one-handed use, leaving the other hand free for, you know, scratching your temple. A 1440p on a 6 or so inch screen, just give me the same design with updated specs and I'm buying 10 of them. Yeah, that's a good shout actually. It would be good to see some of those older Samsung blowers rebooted, definitely. It's just so nice to have a sub 6-inch smartphone again. Oh my god, why can't we go back to those days? And a lovely set of colours on that one as well, I seem to recall. A full rainbow set of hues to choose from. And on a similar note actually, I would quite like to see a reboot of the old HTC One smartphones as well. I really like that design. I know it was obviously quite chunky bezels above and below for the boom sound, but I just love seeing boom sound on video. That was friggin' mint. And also just having a metal phone. I really do miss the metal phones, especially as, you know, unlike the glass monstrosities these days, you don't have to give them a buffing up every time you go to shoot another bit of video. Next up, Ray says, a reboot of Manic Miner would be absolutely brilliant. Yeah, seeing an update of that would be very interesting indeed, because it was very much of its time, Manic Miner. I'm not really sure how you do running around in a deserted mine full of robotic birds and f***ing animatronic toilets. Would really work now. Absolute classic though, for sure. Oh, and Ray continues, as for a great whiskey, I can highly recommend Penderyn Legend. It's the best thing to come out of Wales since the microphone. Oh, cheers for the recommendation, Ray. I don't think I've ever actually had Welsh whiskey before, so I'd be tempted to give that a go. Simon Over 50 Fitness says, agree with the PSP/Vita. I still have mine and still play it. Such an underrated system. Crazy jealous, man. I did go back to my PS Vita about a year ago. Just really fancied, you know, playing on some of those old games again. And as soon as I took it out of the case, realized it was because the battery had basically swollen inside of it, so the back was like bulging out. Absolutely heartbroken. So I might try and pick up an old one somewhere, somehow. Next up, iMoon9 says, your tech updates are the best out there. I mean, if that's not just straight up sarcasm, then that's actually quite worrying. It says quite a lot about other tech updates on YouTube, really. Akme Gakil says, man, he didn't even try with the intro. Love it. This channel rocks. Yeah, I mean, you knows it. 0% inspiration, 0% perspiration, 0% f***s given. And next up, George says, greetings from Sweden, Uncle Spurt. Greetings right back at you, George. Never actually been to Sweden, but it's definitely right up there on my list. I'm a massive fan of your exceedingly bleak crime drama-y thingies. And of course, Seb Larson, an SAFC legend. Yeah, sadly, I don't really have enough time to watch TV these days, but if you've got any recommendations for any Swedish crime dramas, like anyone who's watching this right now, then definitely let me know. It'd be great to hear, because I'm a massive fan of a hour-long harrowing snippet of just really bleak television that makes you feel super depressed, but also strangely horny. But definitely not as much of a fan of IKEA, that's for damn sure. Wandering around an endless maze of flat-pack furniture with other hungover men who just look like they'd rather be anywhere else on Earth or dead. Chris says, my part of Canada, Vancouver, has almost exactly the same weather as London, constant rain and rarely snow, but that's why I live in Australia. I mean, that is cheating, sir. That is the real life equivalent of IDDQD right there. Oh, Vancouver, it's a bit rainy. Let's bugger off to Oz instead. I mean, I don't blame you at all. You know, Vancouver to Oz, that's fine. I've been to Vancouver once, 24-hour stopover on my way back from Hawaii randomly. So there I was dressed in shorts and a lovely jazzy, bright, colourful shirt in, yeah, I think it was about like 2-degree weather. Freezing my nips off down by the harbour, watching the old seaplanes come into land. It was a perfectly nice city. It had a really good fried chicken shop in the mall. So I really need to get this this travel channel off the ground, Travel Spurt. You know, I could give excellent reviews like that one just there. Yeah, Vancouver, it's a bit cold. Excellent fried chicken. Never actually been to Australia either, so definitely that one is also on the list, but not a massive fan of the way that all of the wildlife seems absolutely determined to wipe out any other living creature in the vicinity. That seems a little bit harsh, but definitely a big fan of the national pastime of being so drunk you can't even see your own feet. Next up, Semenik, really hope I've said that correctly, says, hey Chris, greetings from Uzbekistan. So yeah, I'm feeling incredibly, uncultured and untraveled because again, never been there, but it looks pretty awesome because it looks like basically the national food is like kind of a mashup of Asian cuisine and kebabs, which I can 100% get behind. Certainly as someone who has the munchies a lot, that sounds like ideal. Next up, Adel or Adele says, why do I see the design of the S22 and the S22 Plus more appealing than the S22 Ultra? I can see where you're coming from. This S22 Ultra has got that kind of wraparound design, doesn't it, where the screens curve around the edges. I'm probably more of a fan of the sort of the flat screens these days, but of course it all comes down to taste, and I've got all of that. So yeah, whatever. Next up, Rubus Hog says, got my Pixel 6 Pro and its display. Oh great, my cat's found a screw and it's busy batting it around the floor. Yeah, can you maybe not do that, mate? There's a little rascal here. I swear he does it on purpose, just when he wants strokes and he knows I'm busy shooting a video. He's just like, hey, you know what? You shooting a video? Oh yeah? That's more important than me, is it? Well, f you, buddy. So next up, sorry, Rubus Hog, says, got my Pixel 6 Pro and its display had an additional punch hole in one corner. I mean, buy one, get one free. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Not really sure what's going on there. It'd be good to hear a bit more on that one. Next up, M says, keep up the good work, Baldy. Yeah, cheers, man. It's the adoring fans that really keep me going. Shane says, Chris, get a haircut. I mean, with a name like Shane, I am picturing a full-on 80s style mullet right here. So yes, obviously very jealous indeed. Jared says, I second the idea to have you do a tech review while absolutely wasted. LOL. I mean, I really don't need another excuse to get completely tanked up on whiskey, to be perfectly honest with you, but you know, the way this year's gone so far, I can see it happening sooner rather than later, so stay tuned. John Paul says, what's the chances of a more modern version of the camera with the phone built in? A more modern version of a camera with a phone built in? I mean, I can think of a couple of things like that over the years, like the Nokia 1080 and the Samsung K Zoom or whatever it was called. But yeah, I've got to admit, I'm not really a massive fan of having something massive wodged in my pants. At least not another massive thing wodged in my pants. Next up, Nikki says, I'm a linguist and I'm considering using your channel as a research material for my master's thesis. I mean, I'm incredibly intrigued by the subject matter of this thesis, that's for sure. I can only imagine it's based on the general devolution of language, like people who drop too many F-bombs and mostly communicate by flapping their hands about like they're on f***ing fire. And then as usual, running bang out of time, so we'll make this the last one for the week. Photo Smithy says, 80s horror, how can anyone omit Angel Heart, a horror/detective film? Yeah, I've got sort of vague memories of that one. That was Mickey Rourke and Bob De Niro, right? From well back in the day, back before Mickey Rourke looked like a fat sack of lard, basically. Can't really remember much about it. I just remember it was kind of a messed up film noir type thing. I had absolutely no idea what was going on for a good chunk of it. Kind of felt like it was directed by David Lynch on a whole barrel full of crack. I'd say I'd give it another spin, except I get the feeling it's probably not going to be on any of the streaming services right now. Nope. Looks like you can rent it though, potentially from like some Prime Video, so maybe we'll do that. £2.49. But anyway, a massive thank you once again to everyone who commented last week. Much appreciated. Sorry if we didn't get to your comments, but please do smash them down below and we'll try and cover as many of them as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f is next week? Well, frankly, next week is going to be bigger than Dwayne Johnson's first dump of the day, because we've got some big launches coming once again, couple during the week, possibly some Vivo and Oppo action, so stay tuned. And then of course on Friday, we've done it, kiddies. We finally reached episode 100 of this shower of shite, and who thought we'd make it this far? Certainly not this bald knobber, that's for damn sure. And I'd like to say I'm planning something special, but there's special and then there's special, and frankly it's probably going to be the other kind of special. But who knows, I might actually bother to come up with a proper intro for the show at long last, so stay tuned for that. And then, as if all of that wonderment wasn't enough, MWC kicks off that very weekend as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if I don't get the COVIDs or anything, I'll be buggering off to Barcelona to cover that, / drink a shitload of Estrella. So yeah, lots to look forward to. So if you haven't already, then definitely poke that subscribe button, ding that notifications bell, etc, etc. Have yourselves a fan-bloody-tastic weekend. Cheers again for making it to the end of this big, massive pile of elephant dung. And yeah, hopefully see you next week. Cheers everyone, love you.